Good morning, students. Welcome to Udan Career Institute once again. In today's class, we will continue with chapter 2, that is reproduction in angiospermic plants. Now, in the last class, we have completed pollination and different types of pollination along with examples, as well as also we have gone through the floral rewards in case of insect pollination. Now, in this class, we will start with another topic that is known as outbreeding devices. Now, what are these outbreeding devices? Basically, the name itself suggests that outbreeding means the breeding it takes place with different plants, not the same plant. These kind of devices which help the breeding to take place with different plant are known as outbreeding devices. Now, in majority of the flowering plants, we see that there are bisexual flowers which are produced. As a result, what will happen that the pollen grains they can come in contact with the stigma of the same flower. Because the flower is bisexual, it has both male and female reproductive organs, and due to this reason pollen grains will come in contact with the stigma of the same flower. As a result, self pollination will take place. Now, if you continue self pollination for many generations, then we can see that there is a problem which arises, which is known as inbreeding depression. In case of inbreeding depression, the same characters are continued again and again in various generations, one after the other, but no variations are being found. As a result, as there is no variation which is found in plants, the plants will also not evolve, and the plants will not be having a different characteristics or these variations. This problem is known as inbreeding depression. Now, naturally, these flowering plants they have developed many devices to discourage this kind of self pollination and to encourage cross pollination. So, naturally, flowers are having many devices present in them which will prevent self pollination and that will encourage cross pollination. And because of this cross pollination, inbreeding depression it can be avoided. So, basically, this kind of inbreeding depression can be overcome. The first device is known as dichogamy. Now, what is this dichogamy? Now, in some species of flowering plants, the release of pollen grains and stigma receptivity they are not synchronized. So, here in such kind of flowers, sometimes the release of pollen and the receptivity of the stigma it does not take place at the same time. That's why it is known as they are not synchronized, because this does not take place at the same time. As a result, what will happen that sometimes the pollen will mature first and stigma remains unmatured, or vice versa, that pollen remains unmatured and stigma matures first. As a result, self pollination cannot take place and fertilization will not take place. So either the pollen is released before the stigma becomes receptive. So this is one case where pollen matures and it gets released from the anther, but on the other side stigma has not become receptive, it has not matured. This avoids self-pollination. This kind of mechanism is known as protoandry. Whereas in the another case, the stigma matures and becomes receptive while the release of the pollen has not taken place from the anther. That's why also self-pollination can be avoided. This mechanism is known as protogamy. So dichogamy is one such mechanism where self-pollination is avoided by the plants and cross-pollination is promoted by the plants. The second type of outbreeding devices it is known as heterostyly. Now, in some kind of flowers, the anther and the stigma they are placed at different position, so they are not very close to each other. As a result, pollens will not get a chance to come in contact with its own stigma, and that's how self-pollination can be prevented. This kind of mechanism is known as heterostyly. The another outbreeding devices, third one is self-incompatibility. Now self-incompatibility, it is one kind of genetic mechanism in which the pollen grains are not able to fertilize on the surface of the stigma of same flower. So once again I'll repeat, this is a genetic mechanism in which the self-pollination is prevented, that is, the fertilization of the ovule, it does not take place. That is, the pollens, they cannot form or they cannot germinate on the surface of their own stigma. As a result, what will happen? The pollen tube formation will also not take place, and this is how self-pollination can be avoided. This mechanism is known as self-incompatibility. Self-incompatibility means self-pollens are rejected by the stigma, not leading to the formation of pollen tubes. Now, another type of outbreeding devices is known as dichotomy or unisexuality. Now, it prevents self-pollination. Now, in presence of unisexual flowers, that is, they are having either stigma, style, and ovary, or they are having pollens. So, if a plant produces unisexual flowers, then autogamy can be prevented. But this mechanism cannot prevent geitonogamy. As we have gone earlier, that geitonogamy is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of another flower but of the same plant. So geitonogamy cannot be prevented by this kind of mechanism, that is dichotomy, but autogamy can be prevented. Example is castor and maize. Now hercogamy is another mechanism which is seen in case of orchids, where male and female sex organs, they themselves prove as barrier to prevent self-pollination. So in case of hercogamy, both male and female gametes, they themselves will prevent self-pollination. Dioece is another mechanism which is seen in various species of plants such as papaya. Here male and female flowers, they are present on different plants, that is, each plant is either male or female. So this condition will prevent both autogamy and geitonogamy because they do not have any chance to undergo self-pollination. So here always cross-pollination will take place. So if you see these kind of mechanisms, these are all these various areas where self-pollination is prevented and cross-pollination is encouraged. Now moving towards the another topic that is known as pollen-pistil interaction. Now whenever pollination takes place, there is not 100% guarantee that the right type of pollen will come to the surface of stigma. So mostly it is not necessary. So sometimes it may happen that a wrong pollen or a wrong type of pollen will come to the surface of a stigma or will land on the surface of stigma, and this wrong pollen may be from other species or it can be from the same species, as we have seen in self incompatibility. Now that's why it is not necessary that always a right pollen it comes to the surface of stigma and germination will take place. Now, in such case, pistil has an ability to recognize the pollen, that whether the pollen is a right type of pollen or it is a wrong type of pollen. That is, pistil has an ability to find a compatible pollen and to find an incompatible pollen. Now, if the pollen is of right type, then pistil will accept the pollen and the post pollination events will start in that particular flower, leading to fertilization. But if the pollen is of wrong type, then pistil will reject the pollen. As a result, post pollination events will not take place, that is, pollens will not germinate on the surface of stigma and pollen tube will be not formed. As a result, fertilization will not take place. This kind of interaction between pistil and pollen is known as pollen pistil interaction. As a result, there is an ability of pistil to recognize the pollen, and on the basis of recognition of the pollen, after that it is decided that either the pollen is accepted or it is rejected, and this takes place by pollen pistil interaction. Now, these interactions are mediated by chemical components and enzymes of the pollens which are interacting with those pistils. So, this interaction requires the help of chemical components as well as enzymes also. Now, once pollen grain germinates on the surface of stigma, Now through one of the germ pore, pollen tube will come out. So pollen tube is formed through any one of the germ pore. Now this pollen tube, it passes through the style and it reaches to the ovary. Now in some plants, pollen grains are released in two cell stage or two cell condition, whereas in some plants the pollen grains are released in three cell conditions, which we have gone in earlier class. So we know that some plants, in 60% of the angiosperms, pollens are shed in two cell stage, and in the remaining 40% of the angiosperms, pollen grains are released in three cell stage. So in two cell stage there will be one vegetative cell and one generative cell, whereas in three cell stage there will be one vegetative cell and two male gametes. So when the pollen grains are shed in two cell stage, that is vegetative cell and generative cell, the generative cell will divide and will form two male gametes during the growth of pollen tube in the stigma. Whereas in case of plants which are in which the pollens are shed in three cell stage, the pollen tubes will carry two male gametes from the beginning only. So here the generative cell does not have to divide, as it has already divided earlier and it has led to the formation of two male gametes. Now these pollen tubes, once it reaches to the ovary, it will enter into the ovule through the micropyle, and then it will enter through one of the synergids. It will take the help of filiform apparatus which guides the entry of pollen tube. So pollen tube will enter into the ovule, as we have gone earlier that at the micropyle the integuments are not present. That's why the pollen tube through micropyle it will enter into the ovule. Now if you see the micropyle end, if you remember that there were two synergids and one egg cell. So this pollen tube will enter through one synergid through the help of filiform apparatus which guides the entry of pollen tube, and the two male gametes are released inside the ovule. Now pollen germination can be studied by dusting some of the pollens from flowers of pea plant or chickpea plant, or we can say vinca. They are taken on a glass slide containing a drop of sugar solution, that is almost 10% sugar solution can be used, and we can see that how the pollen germination takes place. So if you see the diagram A shows pollen grain germination on the stigma, whereas the diagram B, it shows pollen tube growth which takes place through the style. The diagram C, it is the LS of pistil which shows the path of the pollen tube growth, where we can see that some pollens they have not germinated on the surface of stigma, whereas the pollen tube is formed for one compatible pollen. So only there was one compatible pollen whose pollen tube has been formed. Now the diagram D, it is an enlarged view of egg apparatus which shows the entry of pollen tube into one of the synergid through the filiform apparatus. So here we can easily see that there is a filiform apparatus in the synergids, and pollen tube is entering through the filiform apparatus into the synergid. Now as soon as pollen tube enters into the synergid, in diagram E we can see that there is discharge of male gamete into the synergid, and movement of gametes takes place into one of the egg cell and fertilization will take place. So there are two male gametes. One male gamete will move towards the egg nucleus for the fertilization, and other male gamete is moving towards polar nuclei for fertilization. So this is the diagram which is very important with respect to pollen pistil interaction. So in the next class we will continue with artificial hybridization technique. Thank you very much.